Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Super Anime Bros podcast. As always, I'm your host, Rosario, joined by my brother, Angelo, and today we're going to talk about something we love.
Welcome back, everybody, and it is finally time.
Yeah, we've been teasing this one for quite a few weeks.
We've been promising this one for quite a few weeks, even.
Well, we'll deliver today.
For our Your Lie in April deep dive. And it's very fitting now that it is April.
It is, in fact.
So, yeah, this one is... It's going to be... I don't know if it's going to be a long one or short one.
Yeah, I honestly couldn't tell you. I think a lot of this, we're going to kind of just let the moment speak for itself. And we don't have a ton of stuff written down notes-wise. I think this is much more like a feeling show than like a, let's talk about this awesome fight. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and this is a show that it's in both of our top 10s, but it's incredibly meaningful to both of us. I'm assuming it's just as meaningful to you.
Yeah, for sure.
If you have it even
for
higher
sure.
in your list than I do.
Yeah, I mean, I really, I love this show. Not every thing we watch makes you feel like this does. Not everything has such interesting relationship dynamics, I'll say. The music as well. I mean, we'll get there. We got a whole section about that, but there's just a lot of things that make this stand out versus other things we watch. So yeah, totally.
Yeah, it really is an incredible story. One of the best I've ever watched. You could argue it's like the best romance. I don't think it's my favorite, but
yeah, I mean,
I could argue it's the best.
I think that it definitely romance is a huge part of the show. But it's not like everything, whereas, the romance is everything. So I wouldn't say that, but it is...
Romance drama.
Yeah. But no, it's a really special show, so I'm excited to see what we say about it today.
Ooh. Yeah, we'll see.
If your computer doesn't die.
No, my computer. I'll get us through. So I guess let's start off reading the synopsis.
Yeah, for sure.
I'll read the first part. You read the second. You want to do that?
I can do that.
All right, cool. Kosei Arima is a childhood prodigy. Would I say that right? Yeah. Prodigy, known as the human metronome for playing the piano with precision and perfection. Guided by a strict mother and rigorous training, Kosei dominates every competition he enters, earning the admiration of his musical peers and praise from the audiences. When his mother suddenly passes away, the subsequent trauma makes him unable to hear the sound of a piano, and he never takes the stage thereafter.
Nowadays, Kosei lives a quiet and unassuming life as a junior high school student alongside his friends Tsubaki and Watari. While struggling to get over his mother's death, he continues to cling to music. His monochrome life turns upside down when the day he encounters the eccentric violinist Kaori Miyazono, who thrusts him back into the spotlight as her accompanist. Through a little lie, these two young musicians grow closer together as Kaori tries to fill Kosei's world with color.
All right.
A little lie, you're lying.
Yeah, that's the name of the show.
Funny how that works.
Well, that's the localized version.
Yeah, like I was thinking
the
about
Japanese version is incredibly long. It's, I think, like, I met a girl near the cherry blossoms and my life began to change.
Yeah,
I think that's it.
That's what I'm looking up now. Yeah, it might be.
It's close.
Well, that's like, maybe it's like a subtitle. Because I do think the regular title does translate to that, but...
Oh. Yeah, I don't
there's
know.
Definitely a
one
lot
of those,
more to it.
One of those long titles.
Yeah, without a doubt.
But, the synopsis actually gives away a lot. Usually they're, like, setting up, like, 5 minutes of the series. But this covers, like, at least a couple episodes in the real intro to it.
Yeah, I think that's good. I mean, that's helpful for us.
Yeah,
we try to explain something.
The only thing, too, is it says that he's unable to hear the sound of a piano. He can hear the piano, he just can't hear his own playing.
Yeah, and it's not like always. Like a lot of times in the show, it'll be like he starts and then he gets lost, and they use the visualization of like falling to the bottom of water and just not being able to hear anything, which I think is actually a really interesting way to try to help us understand what it's like.
Yeah, but I mean that can really make you not want to play the piano anymore.
Yeah, I mean I could certainly imagine that would. That would make you struggle a wee bit. But yeah, I think that's a really interesting setup. Originally when I first had heard of this show, I thought that he was just straight up deaf after this, but played the piano even though he was deaf, and obviously that's not the case. So like, watching it the first time, that was kind of like shocking for me when I went in thinking that.
Yeah, it's certainly a little
It's
different.
definitely
from that.
different than that. Yeah, but I think if we want to start by talking about some of the characters, introduce everybody, we can get into some of the deeper stuff from there.
Yeah. Yeah, so we'll start off with Kosei Arima.
For sure.
He is our main gentleman here.
Yeah, gentleman for sure. Gentleman
And
musician.
he is a piano prodigy stricken by grief and drama, which they kind of mentioned there
For sure,
in the synopsis. But, after his mother's passing, he really wasn't able to play the piano again. The beginning of the show actually starts with him like doing his last like real competition right after his mom passed away, and he just cracks in the middle of it, and that's when he stops being able to hear his own notes.
Yeah. A very strong start with that. Like, definitely makes you want to understand what's going on here and what would make somebody, feel that way. And you could definitely see from the onset that he's a pretty broken character.
Yeah, because he still like works with music in the beginning of the show. He's like transcribing music from like songs for like karaoke and stuff and making arrangements.
Yeah.
So he's still like spending all his time like in the music room, still working with music, which is almost like sad to see. And that's something that another character says, is that it's like he's clinging on for dear life.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Even though he really can't play anymore.
Yeah, I think that's a good way to put it. I mean, it is his life. I think that's fair to say. So he has to find any way to be able to still live it. And yeah, maybe it's sad to like say he's clinging to music, but I also think like he loves it that much. It's that much of a part of him. We just need to, and we will throughout the show, like find a way for him to have a healthy relationship with it again.
Mm-hmm.
Because it does. Yeah, I mean, it means the world to him. It means everything. It is everything.
Yeah, absolutely. And then last note we have is that his life is changed by Kaori, who shows him the way forward.
Yeah.
And it says like in the synopsis that she shows him like a colorful world.
Yeah.
So that's something they say pretty early on. Tsubaki says that, is that like for him, like he just sees everything in like black and white. Everything's
just dull.
And then she also says like when you're in love, everything's super colorful.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know I think she says that, unless Kaori does.
I
don't
don't
know.
know.
One of the girls
I don't
says
think it
that.
matters who says it.
In preparation, I did rewatch this series, hence why it took a little longer to.
Yeah.
Minus the last episode, I didn't need to watch that.
Well, hopefully
We'll get to why later.
Yeah, hopefully you're sharp because I have not watched this in a
but
while.
like, yeah, I'm good. I like if there's any kind of like story stuff, I'm gonna know that. I'm just like with a show like this that's such an emotional show, and we have like emotional connections to. Sometimes I have a hard time like putting why, like it means so much to me into words. So I can be there.
No, that's
I'll
fair.
definitely know like plenty about the plot here.
Yeah, I'll do my best to verbalize that later on. There's like kind of specific things I want to talk about with the meaningfulness in terms of like relationships and the good and the bad. But we'll get there in due time.
Absolutely. So, do you have anything else you want to add for Kosei?
Not at the moment. Like I said, I think as we get deeper into it, like we can touch on a little bit more. But I think that sets him up pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, you want to move on here?
For sure. So Kaori is the violin player. Spoilers for the whole show, obviously.
I was gonna wait to spoil, but
Well, I mean, this is
you
just,
find out pretty.
yeah.
early.
This is made pretty evident in the first couple episodes that she's really sick. They don't get into it a whole lot, but you see her get dropped off at a hospital. You see her taking a bunch of pills. That will become more and more of the plot as we go along, but that's definitely a huge thing about her. Would you say this next thing is revealed pretty late too?
Yeah, actually.
I mean, I don't know. Do you want to save that for later, or do we just let it rip?
No, you already gave the spoiler alert.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, if we're talking about a show, we're going to talk about everything, and I think that looking at it as the full picture, is really important. But Kaori saw Kosei at a very young age, and like we'll see with some other people, was very inspired by someone their own age, a child being such a prodigy with the piano, and this was, I would assume, before his mother was sick, and he really just was absolutely
Yes,
robotic.
this was like his very first contest.
Yes, yeah, because
Where
he's
he was
always,
like all like
very
kind of
nervous going
timid
up.
and yeah.
It's actually very
But
funny
it's
and
just
cute.
his performance was like so beautiful. We'll get to another character who was actually inspired by
Yeah,
the
yeah.
exact same
for sure.
exact same performance.
Yeah, and they both took two different paths. The other one we'll talk about in a second, but Calorie, what she wanted from this was, I want to learn how to play a parallel instrument to be able to.
Yes, because I think she
play,
originally
like,
did.
with-
she
she was,
originally
yeah,
was a
piano.
pianist as well.
So she wanted to pick up the violin to be able to play with this young prodigy, which is really interesting because as we'll go further into this, like she brings inspiration into his life,
yeah, that
kind of repaying
part
back.
like there that is in the last episode.
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I have not heard that nugget yet in my rewatch.
For sure, yeah, I think that's in
That's part of the lie.
Yeah, yeah, the lie. The lie's revealed in the last episode, and I was like the whole time watching this the first time, I'm like, does the title even mean anything? Like, I
Well,
was
there's
just
like one lie we'll talk about.
well, that's the
in
lie.
episode.
Yeah. But she gets a lot from Kosei and gives a lot to Kosei. Brings color into his life, kind of like we said, and really helps him to move forward without dwelling on the past, and helping him not only, I'll say, see the future, but like just enjoy the present, go on a journey. I think they say a couple times.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, she's a really cool character, and I think our main two here, their relationship's really strong, really inspiring. The way they both kind of lean on each other, but in like a healthy lifting up kind of way, not in a dragging each
I
other
mean,
down
very
kind of
early
way.
on, it is Calorie just completely shoving Kosei out of his comfort zone.
Yes, yeah.
By forcing him to be her accompanist on a performance.
Yep.
And another time, he was supposed to get her a gift, and he didn't. And
Mm-hmm.
she's like, "I'll forgive you if you do one thing that I say." And then after he agrees, she's like, "Okay, enter this piano competition." So she really is just pushing him to give it another shot with music. And yeah, like you said, go on a journey with it, realize that there is more to music than just notes on a sheet of paper. And
Yeah.
that it's not, I mean, there's nothing wrong with completely honoring like the score, the composer's intent. But with music, it's not like the law. You can really make something your own.
For sure. Which, I mean, it's something, they touch on so much in the show because a lot of it, at least the performances, are framed through competitions where you want to be note perfect. And that's not how Calorie plays, and that's not how Kosei is able to express himself and find joy in it. That's just not...
Well, that's what it was like
Yeah, that's what
very
was
much
forced upon
drilled
him.
into his head, is that you need to just do
Exactly.
it exactly the way it is, which makes you win a lot of competitions. But
Yeah.
it's clear that it's brought him nothing but pain.
Yeah. So she, can kind of help him free himself from that with
And then later on in the show, it starts
expression through
to
music.
go the other way, where Kosei really starts to push Calorie.
Yeah.
Once things
Yeah.
start to, decline with her health, he inspires her to keep pushing and keep trying,
Yeah, without a doubt.
so that they can, continue to play together.
They really do lift each other up. I think it's beautiful.
So it is nice to, it's a great relationship, which I think we'll talk about. I think you had that in some of the
certainly.
meaningfulness. But yeah, so anything else you want to add for Calorie?
No, I think that's good for
All
now.
right, cool. Yeah, because I feel like most of the strength is like in how they interact with each other, not necessarily just the character by themselves.
Yeah, yeah.
The next character we'll talk about is Tsubaki, who is Kosei's childhood friend. I put that in quotes because their relationship is also a bit of a not super complicated, but
Yeah,
Tsubaki
I
makes
wouldn't
it
say it's
incredibly
all that
complicated. With like right from the bat, Tsubaki's just like always saying that Kosei's like her little brother because they've grown up together, and she's all like not like picks on him, but spends all kinds of time and teases him. In the first like 2 minutes of the show, she plays softball, and is it softball or baseball?
They call it softball, I think, but it looks like
It just looks like baseball.
I
So she
don't
plays whatever ball sport. and she hits a ball
Plays
through
ball.
the window into the music room into Kosei's head. And that's like the first like 5 minutes of the show. Like she runs in, there's blood everywhere, and she's like trying to sneak out because she thinks she heard him, and then he wakes up and she's like, "Oh, thank God, it was just you."
Yeah.
So that's how
That
their
is
relationship
funny.
goes. But she also is, pretty protective of him and doesn't want to see him get hurt again because she's always been a supporter of him throughout his musical journey. And she's the one who says like that he's just like barely clinging on to the piano, and she says that it might not even be best for you to go back into it. She just wants him to be happy and be able to move on from some of that pain.
Yeah.
But, later on in the show, she really starts to realize that her feelings towards Kosei are not, like, of, like, a brother and sister, is that she has developed feelings for him, but she don't know it yet. Everybody else does,
Yeah,
Except
that's
for
kinda,
Kosei.
kind of how it goes when you're
and her.
denying something, but you're still letting it show.
So, it really does become a bit of a love polygon. But, Tsubaki has all these memories and all this time with Kosei growing up, but she just does not have the relationship with music like Kaori does with him.
Yeah.
And that's something that she says a lot, is that, like, they're up there on stage together and it's just like, I'm on the sidelines here.
Yeah.
She has no connection to music.
For sure. I think that's something interesting about her character, is almost her resentment toward music, especially as we get deeper into it. Like, it always has taken him away from her. And it didn't for a little while, even though he was, at his saddest and darkest points during that time when he was without music. But yeah, once again, it takes him away from her, which is, kind of sad, but also it's his path. It's his choice. It's what he wants. It's what will make him happiest, which is what she wants at the end of the day. But
Yeah. But she does get jealous of music and of Kaori
yeah, for sure.
a decent bit. But,
For sure.
it takes her a very long time to kind of realize her feelings. So, but Tsubaki's a really interesting character.
Yeah, I think she's a pretty cool character.
All right, so we have one more of like the main
Yeah, you
squad,
can
the
take
main
him
quad.
too.
I know you don't want to talk
I
about
couldn't
him,
care less.
and I'll make my case for him.
Whatever.
And this is Kosei's other kind of childhood friend, not been around as much as Tsubaki, but they've grown up together.
Yeah,
too.
they show the three of them as little kids.
Yeah, but they show a lot of just the two of them too.
Yeah,
So,
I mean, yeah.
And this is Watari. He is Kosei's other childhood friend who is he plays soccer. He's
Yeah,
very good at
he
soccer.
does play soccer.
But he is just like stupidly girl crazy, which they're
Yeah.
in middle school. Like, I get it. I knew plenty of people like this when we were at that age. Like, that's all he's thinking. Not like talking to tons of girls and dating tons of girls, but like that's all he really is interested
Yeah, I
in.
mean, puberty will do that
Is
too.
girls and sports.
Yeah.
So, like, I get it. Now, do you want to explain what you don't like about Watari?
So the big setup here in the beginning is Kaori tells Tsubaki that she likes Watari. We come to find that it's more so to get close to Arima.
That's the lie.
Well, I was going to save the lie for later, but
Oh, well, we're talking about it right now.
that's fine. But I just like he does care about her, and that's as we get like to the very end made evident still. But like he's supposed to be seeing her, but then he's seeing like 6 other girls, and I'm just like, dog, let Kosei.
Well, it's not even lead, but
Well, no, obviously not. I
mean, I can understand why you don't like
I
that.
find
He's
it
a player.
super annoying. Like, don't be a playboy to this girl or to anybody, but still.
Yeah, I don't know. I still do appreciate that he is there when it matters. Like, he always does visit Kaori in the hospital when Kosei's afraid to.
Yeah, but
Watari's
I
still
think
doing it.
he's a big reason that Kosei's
Yes,
afraid to.
because it is Tsubaki drills that into his head a little bit. Is that Kaori likes Watari? She says it in the first episode, and she says it many other times.
Does she?
Yes,
Okay.
I just rewatched
I mean,
it.
yeah.
Remember, I'm the fact.
You're the facts guy.
Yeah, I mean, she says it definitely a lot more once she starts to realize her own feelings.
Yeah.
Because that's when she says, like, you should just fall in love with me instead.
Mm-hmm.
which is it's a big moment. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I don't know. So, and it's also right away. Tsubaki says, "Hey, Watari, this girl's like crazy about you." So he does have a little bit of like a big head with that. And when he talks to Kosei, he's like, "We should let her decide," or like, he thinks he's already won because he was told. Basically
Yeah,
from the
fair,
start.
but also like I won't.
But that is what Kaori told Tsubaki.
To be
She's like,
fair
"I
to,
like
to
Watari."
him later, he does like realize that Kosei is kind of the one that needs to be there for her. So I think that
I mean, yeah.
is fine, but
Like, it's not like he's like going on dates with Kaori though.
Yeah, no.
They're
I
just
just
hanging
I
out
just
like
don't
a
care for
squad.
the character.
I don't know. I think he's a good character, and he's super helpful to Kosei throughout the show. With even with girl advice, but just being a good supportive friend.
Yeah, I can.
Like
agree
he may
with that.
have his problems with that, but he's there when it counts, and that's what I do appreciate about Watari.
Yeah, I can understand that.
All right, I don't got anything else to add.
Yeah,
about
me
him.
neither. I couldn't care less. So a lot
Why
of
you
the
gotta do him like
because
that?
I'm not a fan of the character. Like I don't.
I could not care less.
I
But if he
don't-
wasn't in
I
the
don't
show,
care. Well, obviously, but that just because
I
somebody's
guess if there were
important
no
to a
villains in shows,
Yeah,
they'd
just
be
because
like,
somebody's
too.
important to the
that was
plot
not my
doesn't mean
best
I have to
argument. I'll
like
give
them.
you that.
Okay, so moving on to some of the side characters, pretty much all through the piano. The first
every
of
other
which
one is a
is Kosei's mom, who was, in her own right, a famous musician. And it came to be that her son, maybe also had some of that talent. And when she saw that, she, through some motivation from her friend, who we'll talk about next, decided that she was going to teach him. And I think it probably started off as a beautiful thing, a great relationship between mother and son,
That's how they make it out to be.
through a shared love of something else. And you don't really see his dad a whole lot. So, this bond was very important for the two of them. And then his mother gets sick. And as she has less and less time, gets sicker and sicker, she becomes harder and harder on Kosei. Eventually ending in abuse in multiple ways, physical and emotional. And and I'll talk about this a little bit more when we get to the relationship thing.
Mm-hmm.
While this comes from a deep care and, more is revealed as to why she does it, obviously, it's horrible and it scarred Kosei for years and years and years. But because of all this, she's one of the most important characters in the show, even though she's not in it all that much. She is just such an overarching presence and figure in it. So, super important character.
Yeah. I think we'll talk more about her in that meaningfulness section we have down there. But
Yeah.
it is certainly a tough relationship, and it's hard for me to feel like she is redeemed because she was just trying to do it. From a place of
I
caring.
don't think the ends justify the means.
Yeah, I agree. But I think we'll get to that later. But once he's able to realize that she's always going to be a part of him, he's able to overcome pretty much his issue, which I don't think he still can hear his playing later, but he's able to, just focus and be able to play with sincerity and, overcome that trauma.
Yeah.
So the next character we'll talk about is Hiroko Seto. This was Kosei's mom's, I guess best friend, college friend.
Yeah. Fellow
I-
musician.
Yes. And I have in quotes that she's Kosei's new mom.
Yeah.
Because after Kosei's mom passes away, she was kind of there, but then she disappeared for a while because she felt like it was all her fault because she's the one who pushed Kosei's mom to teach him after seeing his natural ability and just
Yeah.
deep, really easy understanding of music. But she does come back after he enters the first piano competition and teaches him and helps him grow so much as a musician, and is from that point on always there to support him. You have anything else to add?
No, sorry, I was in deep thought about something that we'll talk about later. About
Okay.
a pronunciation, actually. That has been weighing on me the entire time we have been talking about Dear Light April.
Is it the name of a musical composer?
Yeah, I'm trying to figure it out based on other stuff. No, I think she's a really cool character, too. She's there for him when she needed to be most. Obviously, like you said, was gone for a little bit, and
Well, I think he needed her a lot right after it happened, and she wasn't there.
maybe, yes, maybe. I don't know that he could have healed right away. I think it was
No,
once
no.
he was beginning to heal that she was there to help him, find his passion and dream again, and teach him a little bit of the way forward as well. But yeah, I think she's an awesome character.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll move on we're going to talk about Kosei's two rivals. And the first one is Emmy. She fell in love with the piano after seeing one of Kosei's performances, which was his first piano competition, the same one that Kaori saw, which later revealed that they were sitting next to each other.
That is funny, yeah. Yeah,
Because
she
Emmy
just starts
started
crying,
bawling her eyes out after
Yeah.
the performance, and that's what Kaori says. The girl next to me started crying. So, it's a small town, small world. So Emmy's, I don't know what her motivation is or like what her deal is, because part of that make it seem like she likes Kosei, and like her teacher's like, you like him, but like then she's also like, I'm going to destroy him, because she saw
wants
his
to be
first
the best.
performance, and then after he began to change and just became such like a technician with the piano and no longer playing for like making it his own,
Yeah.
or just having any kind of emotion in his playing, she started to resent that kind of playing.
Mm-hmm.
And her goal was to just take it down, because she is an incredibly emotional player, which I know you love one of her performances especially.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So she's a good character, and I think a good, like, kind of like a foil to Kosei, but the old Kosei, because but she's not like Kaori.
No.
She wants to just destroy him.
Yeah. I mean, she wants to prove and show that the emotional and expressive way of playing is better than his robotic playing, and she'll do that through her actions and her ability.
Yes, rather than like Kaori being there to encourage him to do it that way. And when she shows him how she plays emotionally, I feel like it's different.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I mean they don't have the same goals, but they both
Yeah, absolutely.
want to
So,
show that expressive music is better.
that's Emmy.
Yeah.
All right, you want to talk about the last guy or should I?
No, I'll keep going.
All right,
You talked about the last two. You know what I'm saying?
I'll just keep gripping, dude.
No, I'm saying I'll go down.
All right, you want to talk about?
I don't really care. I'm just saying. The next and other of Kosei's rivals is Takashi Aiza, another prodigy, I'll say. After Kosei went away, this is the guy who kind of won all the competitions and everything. And he's inspired by Kosei in a way, but also in a different way. Whereas that he just kind of wanted him, and he was when they were children, even though he always lost. He wants to be rivals.
Mm-hmm.
He wants to have somebody to help push him forward and push someone else forward, like a true strong rival. Somebody oftentimes, and especially in anime, but even in real life, like when you want to prove you're the best at something, you want to go up against the best.
Yeah, I mean, a healthy rivalry is a great motivator.
Mm-hmm.
That's something they actually mention in the show, because it motivates like Emmy a lot, because she started to go into a slump after Kosei disappeared from the piano scene, whereas Takashi rose up and kind of took the reins there.
Yeah.
But yeah, all he wants is Kosei to come back too. He said it before that Kosei is like, he talks about superheroes a lot, and that Kosei is like an invincible superhero to him.
Yeah.
So he wants that back. Whereas, when Kosei does finally come back, he's still broken. So
yeah, for sure.
Because Takashi's kind of a technician too. He's not as much of an emotional player like Kaori or Emmy. He's really like a notes guy. I mean, he still has like emotion in his playing,
and there's also
and like a lot of raw
he
energy.
wins
But
all of the competitions.
yes, but he is very muchly a just like play it perfect guy too.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really interesting when Kosei comes back into the scene, and just he doesn't even remember them. It's just
Well, he never knew him to begin with.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what Emmy says, because Takashi's all mad. He's like, he doesn't remember us, and she's like, I don't think he ever really knew us.
yeah, like he never looked back. It was always just okay. I
he
win
was
this.
just
and
there,
win
like
this.
it was strictly business.
Yeah, yeah.
He just wanted to do
through his mom.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think it's kind of cool the way the three of their dynamic develops, and they're all there at the performances, there for each other. They talk kind of just as people. It's not like a vicious rivalry like maybe some of them had hoped for. But it's just that's not who Kosei is. He's not. Oops, sorry, I pushed the table a little bit. He's not this invincible superhero that he was thought of. So I think it's probably more of like a healthy rivalry once he's back and starting to be able to play a little better.
I mean, later on, the three of them even like start to talk more, and there's a part, a cool part where they're like at one of the performances, and Kosei's just posted up, sitting on the ground eating an egg sandwich, and then he shares one with Emmy, and then they start just talking about it, and then Takashi comes over and they share one with him too. So they're just like, I think at the end, I like to think later on in the series that they start to develop more of a healthy relationship.
Yeah, friendship.
Because like with what they think of Kosei too, neither of them even know a thing about him.
No, exactly. He's just up on a pedestal.
Because after like his first performance back, when he like crumbles and eventually does create something beautiful at the end, it's not what Takashi expected, and Takashi's like, "What the hell was that, man?"
Yeah.
Like, you sucked, and he's like, "I wouldn't know," because he couldn't hear it. So, he really, once they realize that he's not perfect and he's gone through so much, I think that they can start to understand him a little better, even, and form more of a healthy rivalry / connection. But I don't know. After the next character we're going to talk about, I don't think Takashi likes him at all.
I'm sure he's fine. There's just that one scene.
There's one scene we'll talk about later in like moments. That's like, it's very few moments that make me chuckle in this show, and that one's one of them.
Yeah.
So we'll talk about the last character / other pianist, and this is Nagi Aiza, who is Takashi's little sister. Although we do not find, we find that out. Kosei does not find that out till pretty late.
Yeah, definitely a few episodes.
Because she shows up to just ruin Kosei's day.
Yeah.
Like the one time he's walking back from the hospital, I think she like makes him trip on something.
Yeah, does she drop like a water balloon?
Yeah. I don't know. She like is trying to prank him.
Just being a menace, yeah.
But then she falls out of the tree and he carries her back to Miss Seto's house. And it's revealed there that Nagi is also a pianist.
Yeah.
And that she wants to train with Miss Seto, but that's not really her goal. She just wants to mess with Kosei.
Yeah.
Because she just really looks up to her big brother, and after Kosei went away, Takashi really, was broken up about it because he lost his rival. And even though he was winning competitions, he wasn't really happy. Mm-hmm. And Nagi just wants to make her big brother happy and make or help her brother beat Kosei.
Yeah.
For real. But eventually, through some circumstances, Kosei ends up becoming her teacher.
Yeah. So, Seto, rather than teaching her, has her student teach her, and it's good
she's there,
for both of them.
It really does help Kosei grow as a pianist, too.
Mm-hmm.
Teaching something is a good way to help you like cement your
really
your learning, because if you can explain and show somebody how to do something, it really will help.
It's the ultimate
perfect
test of how well you know something is, can you teach it?
Yeah, exactly. So they end up becoming teacher and student, and eventually they end up having a performance together at Nagi's, I guess it's like their school music show.
Yeah,
because the school she goes to is like very big with a lot of really talented musicians.
It might
there.
even just be a talent show.
I don't know what it is. It might be some kind of music festival, too.
I feel like the first performance is like something stupid.
Yeah, there's like kids with like drums and stuff, but they're middle schoolers. like a first year of middle school.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know.
Dressed up as bears or something?
Yeah, I think
Just
they're
one of
playing
her
the
friends.
drums.
Okay.
But I think it's some kind of music show.
Yeah.
Regardless, she does agree and lets Kosei perform with her, which is a good experience for both of them. It helps her like start to gain her own confidence playing alongside, a prodigy. And Kosei does it so he can motivate Kaori a little bit, because this is when she's at the hospital and he has maybe Tsubaki
Or what? I don't know.
record, or
Probably
Watari record it, or I think they call
They're
her
on the
while
phone,
they play.
yeah, so she can hear it. Yeah.
So she can hear it, and hopefully that'll motivate her to just keep pushing through.
Yeah.
So that's a really cool moment and one of my favorite performances. And then it's revealed that she's Takashi's little sister.
Yes.
Takashi gets all mad that his rival is teaching his sister
Well, yeah,
how to play piano.
like the way she words it, at least we watched the English dub. I'm sure it's the same in the sub. The way she's wording like him teaching her stuff is like, oh, he showed me so many like just
I'm so much more experienced now.
can easily be taken the
Yeah,
wrong way.
Takashi interprets that in a different way. So, and Kosei doesn't really get a chance to explain himself.
No,
so,
certainly not.
I don't really know how Takashi and Kosei's relationship pans out later on.
I'm sure it's fine.
But I think that's it for the main. That's pretty much all the characters.
Yeah,
There's that other girl who plays softball with Tsubaki.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't really
just
remember her
there
name.
to serve
She's just like
Tsubaki's progression.
yeah, she's very muchly there to do that. So I don't know, man. We could do this a two-parter because I feel like the next section's gonna be a little long, and the rest of it once we start talking like feelings and stuff.
Yeah.
Or we can just bang it out now. It don't matter.
I mean, maybe we talk about the music and then we leave the other stuff for.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the music could be long though, because it's gonna be part of like
We got like
meaningfulness
20
and
minutes.
highlights.
Okay.
I don't know.
No, if you feel like that's gonna be a long time, I'm cool to do this
Yeah, I
again
think
next
so.
week. Yeah.
Would that be okay with you guys? I hope so, because we don't know. We can't hear you right now.
Damn, we're like Kosei.
Yeah, because if not, then it'll be like. I feel like the music could go long, because the music for me is incredibly important, and I feel like that goes hand in hand though with a lot of the highlights, which for me is some of the performances.
Yeah.
And it goes hand in hand with the meaningfulness to me.
It does for me. I like. It's not all of really what I put in terms of like my notes for meaningfulness and what I want to talk to, speak towards. But obviously, it's underlying in everything. It's the driver of the show. So I'm cool with that. I think it's fun to be able to do multiple parts on some of our favorite shows and kind of frees up the amount of time we can spend on things like.
Because I don't
how
want to
it
like
means
be
to us.
rushing and have this be like an hour and 15-minute episode.
Yeah, no, certainly not. I mean, you viewers, I'm sure you don't want to spend that long.
I mean,
Listeners,
there's some podcasts that
Listeners.
are long. Someday we'll get phase cam. If
I don't know that I want to be a long podcast kind of guy. Though,
Yeah.
I think an hour is the max. Like,
Yeah, so no problem. So we're sitting at right around a little under 40. So thank you guys for listening. I hope you've enjoyed thus far. And catch us next week probably for part 2, which will talk about a lot of what the show means to us, some of the music, and some of our highlights.
yeah, I think that sounds good. Hopefully, this was a nice teaser for more to come. I mean, we definitely spoiled some good amount of stuff, but
Yeah, if you listen to this and you haven't watched the show, regardless of what we spoiled, I think it's worth a watch. It's not the easiest show to watch. It's not like a super like chill, I'm just gonna like watch this and have a great time show.
Yeah.
But it really is one of the best stories I've ever experienced. Not even just an anime, but as a show, this one is like one that I've carried with me so much. And I
Yeah.
think I will continue to really carry the emotional connection behind it.
no, I agree. I mean, look, I said this in my list for beginners. Like, I think it's sad and dramatic and can be tragic, but I don't think it's gonna make you not be able to sleep at night.
No, it's not like horrifying.
No, I just mean even like that traumatic.
Yeah.
But yeah.
All right. Well,
Good
see you
stuff.
guys next week. Thank you for listening.
Peace.